Episode 3, we had our first female guest. This time we have our youngest guest. Join me in conversation with Caleb Nathanson. Enjoy. All right, folks, we are live. This is Dave coming at you from Scale Tippers. I have an impressive young man on the podcast today. My guy Caleb. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dave. Good to be here.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so I met Caleb at the Philly NGA show. That's every April. Warren Egabo throws a great show. He's a good guy as well. Couple things about this young man here. So one, he's young, 18, 17,
18.
18, making me feel old. So he has a lot of balls stepping on stage at that age. And two, this guy has a killer physique. He's tall, he's lean, he's chiseled. So excited to have a conversation with you today.
Awesome, man.
All right, bro. So why don't you tell me what made you want to compete at 18? Because I could tell you I did not have the courage or even I didn't even know what a bodybuilding show was when I was 18. So how'd you go down that path?
Yeah, so I think I had a similar thoughts like a year ago or 2 years ago to what you were talking about, like having kind of no idea what the sport looked like. The real answer to that is I'm just very fortunate to be involved with some great people. One person in particular, my trainer Brandon. So I've been exercising pretty frequently and like call yourself like a gym bro, a gym rat, someone who just like loves to go lift, works out every day for probably about 2 years before this show, maybe three. And it was just becoming something that was less and less of a hobby or felt less and less like a hobby. And it was becoming something that I wanted to do and really wanted to like devote myself to and make sacrifices for and achieve something. But I didn't really know where to do that because I was playing baseball. I was still I was in my junior year of high school, and I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of losing my love for baseball. I don't love playing baseball anymore. And I don't know what I want to do with weightlifting. I just know that I love to weightlift. So I had a couple conversations with my trainer. I was like, I want to do something. I want to do something real. I want to do something competitive. And he was like, well, you should enter in a bodybuilding show, a local bodybuilding show. And we kind of made that decision then because it was clear, it's like, this is what I want to do. And not a lot of people really understood that. Not a lot of people want to do that. They want to play their high school sport. They want to do whatever. And then they just like to lift on the side. But me, it was like, I like being in the gym so much that I want to make that my sport. And we kind of just went from there.
Very cool. Okay, so how did you find so I remember when I decided I wanted to compete, I just Googled natural bodybuilding shows Philadelphia and this NGA show came up. How did you find the NGA show?
Yeah, it was kind of like you said, it was looking it up on just on Google and trying to find local shows near me. And there were some NGA shows and there were a couple OBC shows that were like a little further like away, like I would have to travel a little bit. This was kind of like we decided that this would be a good first show for me and my trainer because of the timing and the location. It didn't require like getting on a flight anywhere. It was we started looking for it. I was in the off season. I was trying to really put on some size in the fall, and we started looking around then. And then when I really started my prep, we kind of decided like this is the show it wanted to be, and it was just like it was in April. It was close. I would have about 13 weeks to prep for it, which we thought was good, especially for just like a first show. Yeah, everything just kind of worked out.
Yeah, it's funny you say a good first show because I feel that way about it. It definitely is a good first show, but I think one trap that I personally fell into. So this was my second year doing it. My first show ever was 2023, doing the NGA show, and both years I did really well in the lightweight men's physique category. So I won that both years, and I think that gave me a false sense of how ready I was to compete against like the big dogs in men's physique. And I'm a lot older than you, so you have a lot of runway here. So hopefully this can help you out on your journey. Somebody's calling me. Cancel that. Hopefully this can help you out on your journey. Like I did my first pro show with an organization called ANBF, and so there were four of us. I got third, but there was a pretty clear gap between me and second. Like I think I was closer to fourth than second, and definitely
Mm-hmm.
pretty far off from first. So getting a show under your belt, I think, is awesome, and it's great that you did that. And I know you did really well at that show, and we'll circle back to that. But just stay hungry, man, because you're going to see like there's another level to this shit that I know I'm not at, but I'm certainly working to get to.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. speaking my language, and conversations that I've been having with my trainer, obviously, but also people that don't really know much about bodybuilding, like family and friends who are very supportive and obviously want nothing but the best for me. And I'm just explaining to them, I'm like, listen, like I'm not trying to be like a nihilist or like, oh, like it's like I'm very happy with how the show turned out, and it was a great experience. But I have much bigger goals, and I just for me personally, and aside from titles, just where I want to take my physique over the next 5, 10, 15, however many years. It's like it's definitely like we are at the beginning, nowhere near where I want to be, or at least where I think I can get to.
Yeah, I love to hear that from an 18-year-old guy thinking in terms of 5, 10, 15 years because I own a gym out here in Oaks, and a lot of guys your age, man, they're thinking in terms of like weeks. I can't get some of these guys your age to stay on an exercise split for more than a month if they don't like blow the fuck up. And as natural competitors, the beauty of it is like I'm 34 and I still feel like I have 10 years to go before I even start to decline. Um, so it's really good to hear a guy your age thinking in terms of years, not, I don't want to say days, but weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So let's go back to show day. So your first show, were you nervous? How did it go compared to how you expected, just from a logistics standpoint, pumping up, getting on stage, posing? Talk me through show day.
Yeah, so I was definitely pretty nervous. I think I shot myself in the foot a little bit going into it. I tried to stay very calm, keep your stress level low, your cortisol level low, and just like relax, breathe. But like I would like be scrolling on my phone the night before the show, the week before the show, and listen, I'm as I'm sure every bodybuilder's Instagram feed is nothing but bodybuilding,
Yeah.
and it's all these guys on prep and all their physiques. And I'm like, wow, like these are like that's what it looks like, and just like, am I ready? Am I good? And I kind of I remember like the night before, I was having a conversation with my parents, and I was just like, I was talking to them, and I said, at this point, there's nothing I can do, so I might as well just go and try to give it my best because this is the package that I brought. Whether it's the best that I could have done, it's what I did, and I'm proud of it, and I was happy with it. And let's just go. So the day comes, we get ready, get my second coat of tan, and then I thought I was like really ready and the stress was gone. And then we're lining up and I'm like, nope, the stress is back. I remember it was the men's physique category first. I think it was the novice men's physique category was the first. And I was in that group. It was the first group on. And I turned the wrong way. So they said right turn to the left. And they said right turn. I said, I turned to the left. I was like, oh, okay. And as like slightly embarrassing in the moment as that was, and I was like, oh god, I already messed it up. I'm actually grateful that happened because it was like, okay, it's your first time ever on a stage, and you messed up a little bit, but you're still standing, you're still here, the judges are still calling, so that happened. It's not the end of the world, and then I don't think I screwed up on any calls or any posing for the rest of the night because it was like I got that jitter out. And I just after I got off stage, I was like, okay, my stress went right down. So yeah, and then for the rest of the night, it was just like trying to compete.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, one turn to the left is the same as three turns to the right. So I would say that you were just overachieving. That's my
No,
personal opinion.
yeah, that was totally what I was
Just going
thinking.
three times as hard, right? Yeah. So this show's unique too. So I've done, I think, five at this point, and this is the only show I've been in where they have that long ass, and Warren, I hope you're listening, bro. They have that long ass intermission. Um, as a competitor, I don't like that. I don't know how you felt about that, but I did an OCB show. It was on the 29th of June. Like, dude, men's physique started at 10. I was gone with my trophy at, I think, 11:10, like
Yeah,
done. So that's a little bit different. So you had the nerves when you first went on, but then when we had the evening show after the intermission, were you excited to go back on, or were you still nervous?
I think I was a mix of things. I'd say mostly overall, I was much more excited because the show, like something else that I feel like only bodybuilders really know and the people in the audience don't realize is that at that point the show is pretty much already over, and now we're just trying to put on a show. Like the competition part, like we've done our posing, the judges have like knocked down who they think the competitors are. So like I was like, I've competed, and now it's time to really put to be a performer, less of an athlete. And I didn't have to be like perfect with everything, and obviously I wanted to be, but it wasn't the end of the world if things didn't go exactly how they were in my head. That being said, I had told my family and all my friends who were coming to the show not to come for prejudging because I wanted to really lock in and not have that worry of like, oh, they're in the audience, they're watching, and I want to be focused and just me and my trainer, and then have them come to the evening show. So knowing for the evening show for the finals that my parents, my friends, my girlfriend, my cousins, my everyone who was there to support me was there. It was definitely uplifting, but there you can't escape some added nerves that come with that because it's like, okay, all these people here, they're here to watch you. You got to compete, you got to show.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you didn't want your family and friends there in the morning.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I think like a lot of people would want familiar faces in the crowd at first, but you think that would have added pressure to you.
Yeah, I definitely think it would have added pressure and it would have added support. It's like kind of touch and go, but I think just knowing where my head was at, like I thought I would be more relaxed if I could just like go crazy and just lock in and then really like feel good about that and just be a happier because I'm not trying like finals do matter. You can't mess
Yeah.
up in finals do matter, and I thought that if I could get that out of the way and get it done, then I would see them in the crowd, then I would see their faces, and I would be like more relaxed to bring it to finals and finish strong.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And funny story too. I don't know if your parents and your family told you so. So my whole crew, I have 5 kids. My wife, my parents were there, my friends were there. Our families were sitting right near each other.
Mm,
So they were kind of feeding off each other, right? Like you and I were on stage at the same time
we
at the
were.
end, but other than that, we weren't. So like I just remember your mom turning around and high fiving my wife and like vice versa. So that whole section, I guess from the stage, it was the front right.
It was.
Everyone was
Yeah,
cheering for us.
yeah. That's incredible, man. I did not know that, but that's great to know.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Because my wife was like, "Oh my God, he's only 18," and I'm like, "I know, I can't believe it." So, and that's my experience with bodybuilding shows as well. I always touch on this with competitors in this podcast. The back room, it's super friendly, like the pump up room. Now, you and I didn't speak a ton, but I'm just focused. Like I have a mean mug type look on my face. That's just when I'm focused. Um, but everyone's supportive in those back rooms. A lot of people are giving advice to the younger guys. What's your experience like, show day in that back pump room?
That was my experience was exactly what you just said, and honestly it was probably one of my biggest takeaways of just like learning what like a bodybuilding show is and what the sport entails was just the sense of camaraderie between the athletes is honestly incredible. And I've played sports my entire life. I've played baseball, I played ice hockey, I played basketball, and I have obviously like there's a sense of brotherhood with your team, and sometimes you do really have a sense of camaraderie with your opponents, but I've never ever been in any sort of competition, any sort of athletic competition where everyone is just so rooted, like you want to win, and everyone has put in the work, everyone has dialed and dieted and worked their asses off to get in that condition to be on stage, and yet you still want nothing but the best for everybody in that back room. And it's the first thing I told my parents and everyone, and I was like, I cannot believe just how nice and supportive everyone was. It's just a really good feeling because like everyone really is in this together, and you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, you don't. And I think it's the respect of going through the process, right? Like people don't know what it's like to
Yeah.
eat the same shit every day for 12 weeks. You, it's like people don't get it, man. And I wouldn't recommend it to most people. Like at the end of the day, we're talking sometimes 3 months for prep. Some people prep 4 months to be on stage for probably a total of 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah,
In a way, it's crazy. Um, I
definitely.
get yeah, I get people ask me all the time, like, why do you do it? And I don't really ever have a good answer. I think that I like discipline and I like having a goal. That's what motivates me. Why do you think you do it? Like, what made you do the show?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. I do definitely think that some people, like you just said, are kind of wired to crave like a discipline, and they feed off that. I think that there's been times in my life where I've just felt like inadequate and less than. I think that's why I started working out in general. I was like the fat kid.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I kind of got into the gym and fell in love with the gym, and then it was progressing. It was like I wanted to be skinny, and then okay, now I'm skinny. I want to put on some muscle, and I put on some muscle. Oh, that was great. Now I want to put on more muscle, and now it's just like, what are you doing? You might as well compete because you're basically a bodybuilder. You're just not on stage. Um, And I think I kind of enjoy that. I enjoy that process. I enjoy that journey, and it makes me feel strong and able, and it makes me feel like, hey, like this is something that I'm great at, and this is something that I could be a lot better at, and I'm still very young, and I'm still very naive, and and I'm nowhere close to the top, but I can see it, and I want to go chase it, and that's a feeling that excites me. Um, I also definitely like think that there's just something to be said about like just like competition. Like I enjoy competing, and like I wasn't the best baseball player, and I wasn't the greatest hockey. Like I was a decent athlete. I was okay, but like this is just something else. And I was like, well, this is what I want to do now. And the first show went good, so I was just like, let's keep going. That's where my head's at now, at least.
Yeah, I love it. And to that point, so what's next for you? Are you officially in an off season? You putting on some size? Do you have another show on the calendar? Or where are you now?
Yeah, I would probably I would say I'm in the off season right now. It's really tricky because like as you mentioned before, prep is kind of all consuming in your life, at least if you want to do it right. And obviously, you can balance it. It's not like it doesn't have to consume your life, but it is like it's like this is something you have to really focus on. And I am going into my freshman year of college. So I decided that going into my freshman year, it wouldn't like I qualified for the universe, as did you. So I was like, oh, that show is in November. That would be awesome. But I made the decision that it wouldn't be smart to enter college, that big transition, living on your own for the first time and really wanting to lock in on your studies with balancing a bodybuilding prep. Um, because I just don't think that would be the smartest decision for me. So I don't have a show on the calendar. I would like to compete sometime within the next year, but for now, what I'm doing is I'm definitely enjoying other aspects of life outside of prep a little bit. I'm enjoying food a lot more. I'm enjoying parts of training that lack. Like you're weak as a dog when you get to like single digit body fat. You're incredibly weak, and your training is so like hypertrophy and structured focus.
Right.
So I incorporated strength training back in, and I'm doing like a hybrid. Like I'm lifting for strength. I'm back to benching and incline pressing and shoulder pressing and barbell rows and all these free weight strength movements that I miss the feeling of putting up big weight and really getting stronger on top of continuing hypertrophy training and trying to put on size and really sculpt my body. Plus different cardiovascular exercises. I've been biking, I've been swimming, I've been running, just trying to feel more like a hybrid athlete before eventually I do hop into another prep and lock it on that, because that's definitely coming in the future. I'm just not quite sure when.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, there's a ton of organizations out there. So there's NGA, which you know of, there's OCB, there's ANBF. They do a ton of shows. So whenever you're ready, man, hit me up. I have all the contacts, and we'll make sure that we'll probably do one together. That'd be cool to see you on stage again.
Amazing.
Awesome. All right, bro. Well, love your mindset. You're a young guy, but you're smart. You're thinking in the right terms. You have a holistic view of this, and I really am excited to know you and to see where you go with bodybuilding. And me as a 34-year-old guy, it's like, man, I know there's these 18-year-olds that are hungry and grinding. So, you guys keep me motivated to be my best in the gym as well.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen. Tell the people where they could find you. What's your IG? Do you have any other socials you want to call out?
Yeah, so I have a lifting account called Caleb CNAth Lifts on Instagram. I think it'll be tagged on the podcast. It's very very minor, very small. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm trying to be like an influencer and blow up. I'm just really trying to post my content and just like get just show people what I'm doing. If people are interested, I'd love them to check that out. And yeah, just that's pretty much it. Just on the IG, there'll be updates there on what role fitness is playing in my life, what I'm doing, what I'm lifting, what I'm prepping for.
Awesome. All right. Well, anything else you want to leave the audience with today?
No, I just like to thank you, man. It's awesome to talk to somebody else who's done this process on this process with me, and bodybuilding is definitely something that I'm very grateful for, and I'm excited to continue. And yeah, just that's it.
Awesome, bro. All right. Well, I'm excited to follow your journey. He's Caleb. Check out his IG. Check out his fitness page. We're going to wrap here on the Reason and Reps podcast. This is Dave coming at you from Scale Tippers. Stay fit. Stay free. Peace.